Joining me right now is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. He sits on the Senate Homeland Security and Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. I've got this story this morning, which was broken by Sherry Markson, based out of Australia. And she says that Chinese military scientists discussed the weaponization of SARS coronavirus 5 years before COVID-19 pandemic, outlining their ideas in a document that predicted a third world war would be fought with biological weapons. Senator, your reaction?
Good morning, Maria. First, let me say, does that shock anybody? It certainly doesn't shock me. When you see what China is doing, whether it's in the militarization of the South China Sea islands, their malign actions around the globe, we should have been concerned. And it does boggle your mind that Anthony Fauci continued to apparently fund gain-of-function research and cooperate with the Wuhan lab, knowing he had to know full well that the Wuhan lab, just about any organization in China, is connected to the Communist Party of China as well as the People's Liberation Army. So what were we doing cooperating with China? I agree with Senator Paul. These are some serious questions, and we need some answers. But again, I've been trying to get answers out of federal agencies for years, and I'm not holding my breath.
Well, we continue to see news around Hunter Biden and his ties to China in terms of investing. He still has a 10% stake in a Chinese company there. What are your thoughts in terms of this administration and their ability to be tough on China? We just heard from Newt Gingrich, and he said much of the administration is soft on China. I mean, the CCP wants to overtake America as the #1 superpower. They're communists breaking promises. Look at Hong Kong. No accountability whatsoever. We're watching the Chinese police with the goose step walking around Hong Kong now. Is it because there are conflicts in this administration?
Well, I'm highly concerned. That is the issue. It's one of the reasons Senator Grassley and I issued our report before the election so the American people could understand these foreign financial entanglements of Hunter Biden and the Biden family and how that just might affect U.S. foreign policy. I mean, the counterintelligence threats, the extortion threats, we have no idea, none whatsoever. And again, we've written oversight letters. We're trying to get information out of these government agencies, but the media completely dismissed our report, said there was nothing in there. There was all kinds of information in there. But Maria, that's part of our problem. We do not have an unbiased media. We don't have journalists anymore. For the most part, we have advocates, and they're advocating for the Democrat, the extreme left wing of the American political spectrum, and it's really hurting this country. It's very dangerous.
Senator, let me move on to the vaccine situation. I know you're working on an op-ed about these vaccines. We should point out that the COVID-19 vaccine right now is under emergency use authorization. Is that what your op-ed coming out in the next couple of weeks will be about?
Well, actually, I'm probably writing a press release saying that I have now been tested for antibodies against COVID-19. I was tested positive twice within 3 days to confirm the fact that I had COVID, although I was completely asymptomatic. And there is growing concern that the people that get vaccinated, if they've been previously and particularly recently infected, there may be some dangers there. We have close to 3,000 deaths reported on the VAERS system within 30 days. But approximately 40% of those deaths are occurring on days 0, 1, and 2. We have over 10,000 hospitalizations being reported that same time period on the same VAERS system. And unfortunately, our health agencies are just pretty well blowing off that information. And that should concern people. Again, I was a huge supporter of Operation Warp Speed. I'm up to date with all my vaccinations. But I think we need to make sure that we are fully investigating what is happening here, recognizing that this is not a fully approved vaccine. It's gone through phase 1, the initial safety phase. Right now, we're undergoing phase 2 and 3. Using the American population is pretty much the part of the investigatory process here. So we need to be very transparent. Americans need to be informed before they make a decision whether or not they want to get vaccinated or not. And nobody should be forced or coerced or pressured into taking a vaccine if they don't want to. This is a right to choose issue.
Yeah, Senator, you just mentioned warp speed. I want to show this op-ed from Kim Strassel in the Journal again. She's titling it President Joe Sanders because this administration refuses to give President Trump any credit for warp speed. She writes, the rewriting of reality is becoming routine. The administration declares there is no crisis at the border as illegal crossings surge. She goes on to write, it says Georgia's election law update is Jim Crow. Although the state provides more voting opportunity than others, it redefines entitlement spending as infrastructure. She goes on to write, the press only encourages these fictions, making it easier for the administration to ignore biotech's lead role in beating the pandemic and hand over its work to the world. Your thoughts on why this administration is having such a hard time admitting the truth that President Trump galvanized the pharmaceutical industry to come out with a miracle, a vaccine within 10 months, and now Joe Biden wants to blow off all intellectual property rights?
Well, first of all, President Biden used the COVID crisis to really gain the presidency. And again, the press was part and parcel of his entire campaign effort. And I guess he just simply can't admit that the reason we have all these vaccines is because of what President Trump and Secretary Azar did in terms of squeezing all the economic inefficiencies out of that vaccination process. Remember, a year ago, everybody was saying it was impossible to develop a vaccine in less than a few years. And the Trump administration did this in less than a year. And so, again, I celebrate that triumph. But at the same time, I urge caution from a standpoint of indiscriminate vaccination of everybody and pressuring people to take a vaccine if they don't want to do so. I was a champion of right to try, but I'm also a champion of right to choose.
Senator, real quick before you go, I know you are having Secretary Mayorkas speak in front of the Senate Homeland Security Committee this upcoming week. I want to get your take on what you want to get from him because we viewed all of the housing. They built additional tents in addition to the Donna facility that you went and you saw. I was able to view the Delphi facility, becoming the first national media to do so. And here are the pictures that we shot when I went to the Delphi facility. Here's Governor Abbott says the white tents from the Donna facility, there are almost two different sections. They built new tents. So basically what they're doing is they're building new housing for people rather than stopping the flow of people coming in.
Well, they're also issuing no-bid contracts to the tune of over $600 million to a company connected with the Biden transition as well. So who knows what corruption is there? But the bottom line is, over the last couple of weeks, we've exceeded over 6,000 people apprehended per day on the southern border. And this is a crisis created by President Biden himself, by his policies. President Trump pretty well had this problem solved, and President Biden dismantled the entire thing. And the way they're going to try and get away with it is disperse people as quickly as possible so you can't take pictures so the media can continue to ignore it. But President Biden and Vice President Harris fully understood the human depredations of the human traffickers, that their policies are facilitating that multi-billion business model.
Senator, thank you so much. Ron Johnson will be right back with Kevin McCarthy.